The Auschwitz camp was the first concentration camp established by the Germans after the outbreak of the Second World War in the occupied Poland. The reason for its construction was the overcrowding of the existing detention houses and prisons. June 14, 1940 is considered the date of its establishment, as on that day first Poles were deported to the camp. 728 political prisoners from Tarnów. Among them there were members of underground organizations, for example Antoni Suchecki, number 595, representatives of intelligentsia, like painter Jan Komski in the camp Baraś, number 564, people arrested within the so-called AB action, gymnasium and university students like Stanisław Ort, number 620, individuals arrested during street roundups like Janusz Pogonowski in the camp Skrzetuski, number 253, or while attempting to cross Polish-Slovak border at the turn of the years 1939 and 1940, like Kazimierz Albin, number 118, or Tadeusz Pietrzykowski, number 77. A dozen Jews were also deported in the first transport to the camp.
Upon arrival, the train was directed here, to the railway siding located by the building of the pre-war tobacco monopoly, as the site nearby, where the Auschwitz camp was created, was not yet ready for prisoners.
Prisoners left the carriages, accompanied by the SS men screaming. Violent clash with camp reality took place. They were punched all over their bodies, beaten with rifle butts or batons. They had to hurry in order to give away their personal belongings or food remains. Their personal details were written down, and then they were driven to the basement of a building, where they were subjected to a bath, disinfection, and had their hair cut. Next, each prisoner got a piece of cardboard with their camp number on it, and together with the red triangle, political prisoner symbol, these items were supposed to replace their name and surname. Lined up in tents in front of the building, prisoners listened to a speech by the first camp commander, SS Obersturmführer Karl Fritsch. They learned that as Poles, they have the right to live only for 3 months, and a few Jews and priests who were among them would not survive the next few weeks. In the days to come, so-called quarantine began, being the period of adjustment to camp reality. The prisoners were among others shown how to take their hats off, had to learn orders in German or practice so-called sport, hard and exhausting physical exercises performed for hours. After the quarantine, prisoners were moved to proper campsite. First, they slept in overcrowded blocks, on the floor covered only with some straw. Starvation food rations, exhausting labor, omnipresent beating and harassment, as well as roll calls during which they had to be present irrespective of weather conditions, made the prisoners lose their strength quickly, get ill, and finally die. Some prisoners from the first transport would lay the grounds for camp resistance movement structures, which was active under various forms nearly for the entire period of the functioning of the camp. Thanks to its activity, it was among others possible to smuggle the information on the committed crimes outside the camp. Out of 728 prisoners deported to Auschwitz from Tarnów on June 14, 1940, 325 lived to see the end of the war, 292 perished, and the fate of 111 remains unknown. The last witness of the first transport, Kazimierz Albin, passed away on June 22, 2019. After the end of the war, some former prisoners got involved in commemorating the tragedy of Auschwitz through publishing their memoirs, presenting accounts, or organizing commemorative events on the occasion of subsequent anniversaries of the arrival of the first transport to the camp. Since 2006, June 14th is commemorated in Poland as National Remembrance Day for the victims of German Nazi concentration and extermination camps.